Shared News. Thompson, joined by my girl Kayla Galloway to talk about the biggest moments and highlights from the season premiere of The Bachelorette. Before we dive into it, go ahead and give this video a like, subscribe to our channel, and make sure you hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of our future videos. KG, so good to see you. And it's so good to be back covering The Bachelorette. How are you feeling after watching the premiere?
I feel alive. The Bachelorette season, I mean, the off season has been way too long. I'm ready to get into it. I'm ready to judge people. I'm ready to oh, I can't watch people fall in love. I guess that's exciting too. But
Yeah.
yes, I absolutely love it. I actually finished watching this premiere a few minutes ago, so it's fresh in my mind.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, no, I feel the same. Like I always say this, it's like a new season of Bachelor or Bachelorette. It's just like, it's like a breath of fresh air to kind of like clean slate, start over, see a new cast of people, see a new lead have like their journey start. And yeah, just kind of get back to like, I don't know, this is like my sports. So it's like coming here with you,
Exactly.
the two Kaylas back at it again, sleuthing things out, kind of just game playing, like who's gonna go far home, what's gonna just it's so much fun for me. So definitely excited to dive in. I actually am really surprised by Charity as well. Like I don't know. I had like I was excited about her. Like we watched her on Zach's season, right? And we loved her. Like she was our it girl, like me, you, and Morgan would always say. But I was really like, wow, she's a really good bachelorette. Like what were your thoughts on Charity as a bachelorette as well?
I was nothing but impressed with her. Like, I definitely was already excited, but she wasn't like the top two. We didn't get as much time with her as sometimes we do with up past bachelorettes. And I knew I loved her. She's a real life Disney princess. I think one of the guys even said that night. But what really almost caught me off guard or surprised me in a really great way is just how sassy she is. She's got a little bit of an attitude, but like in the most
Yeah.
charming way. And I absolutely love it, and I can't wait till she gives some of these guys hell. Like she is just so you can tell she's so confident in who she is that
Mhm.
she's going to run this season and nothing's going to happen that she doesn't want to. Like I think she's just going to be very in
Mm.
control.
Yeah, I can definitely tell she's got a good reins on the season and on her like I don't know, on her journey. And I think that's a great sign in a lead. But I think as well she's very open and she's very like compassionate and emotional. I think that's she's kind of a very well-rounded bachelorette. And for this to be apparently, I didn't know if you knew, but this was the 20th, I guess I don't know if they were considering it
Yeah.
20th anniversary or this is the 20th season of the Bachelorette. So they kind of made it a thing, had like some of the past bachelorettes shoot some videos and share some encouraging
Mhm.
words for charity. And I was just like, yo, so far she really is so well-rounded, like I was saying. And I think um yeah, with that being said, I'm just excited to see her journey unfold. We definitely had a lot of to talk about in this episode, but it's already like some little drama starting and we're going to go through it all. We're going to talk about the limo exits, first impressions, the one-on-ones, of course, Charity's brother coming in during this whole panel. So please, if you guys are watching live, join us in the conversation. Leave us a comment, ask us a question so we can all discuss this together. Um, but yeah, let's get into it. Let's start with the limo exits and first impressions, whatever you like to call it. This is a classic of every premiere episode. Sometimes we have gimmicks, sometimes people come out in costumes, or do little bits, sing a song, do a dance, do a flip. Sometimes it's super wild, very cringy a lot of times. Or others, people are just kind of more themselves and maybe do something more memorable. Maybe give the lead something. But who stood out for you during this whole section of the episode?
Yeah, I mean, first I have to say, I think it was very um different than past seasons. Like I feel like the limo
Mm,
entrances were like half of the episode. So I think that's something to note, that I feel like it was like basically cut in half. There was no costumes, there was no
mm,
like different transportation going into the things. I definitely feel like there was
very
less
true.
of a focus on those. So I think that's kind of something interesting, and maybe we'll throughout the season there will be kind of some different tones versus, like, premiere is basically the limo exit episode in past seasons, and I didn't feel like it was really
Yeah.
like that. And I do have to also say the
Mm,
gazebo thing, I guess it was raining. I thought it was beautiful, but it was basically Charity against like the gazebo pole the whole time. She had to kind of like work us like swerve a little
yeah.
bit to see the guys coming out of the limo, which was a little awkward. So maybe they'll think
Yep.
about that next time it
Yeah.
rains. But yeah, overall I would say
Mhm.
maybe a little underwhelming just because it was less of a focus. But I have to say
Mhm.
I loved
Mhm.
John and the fortune cookie. I thought that was cute. And I also liked Aaron B and the coin flip, and I'm not convinced that there's heads only on that coin. I'm not sure that I don't. I think it's one of those like magic trick coins. But
Right. Yep.
I'm just,
Yep.
you never know. But I mean, he got real lucky twice. What about you?
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, okay. When they got inside and he flipped the coin again, I'm like, okay, it's heads again. What's going on here?
Yep.
But maybe he's just really lucky. Who knows? No, first before I go into like who stood out for me, I have to agree. I was kind of wondering like it was an interesting, you know, this part of the limo entrances was interesting because it was long. It felt longer, but it wasn't incredibly long. Like when I rewatched it, for us to talk about today, it really was only like it only lasted 30 minutes of the episode. So it wasn't technically half, but it felt like it was going on for a long time. But at the same time, there wasn't much like going on. Like you said, there wasn't really costumes or anything really crazy that stood out. No one writing in on things like you said. And I think maybe that had to do with the turnaround of time. Um, from what I remember, I think when they casted Charity as a Bachelorette, and then when they started filming, I mean, I think it maybe was in 2 weeks that of that happening. So maybe it just they didn't have time to really prep, like that kind of stuff. Get you a fire truck to drive in on or stuff like that. But with that being said, though, I will say there were a few where I was like, oh, that was cute. Oh, that was cool. Like for instance, Joey had the Hawaiian flower. I can't remember what it was called. That it had like a
Oh
to it, and it was
yes,
like
I loved
you
that.
move it from your right ear to your left ear, and so I want you to keep it, and maybe if it's you and me at the end, you can move it over to your left ear, and that will signify that you know you're taken or you're mine, which I thought was really cute, and it connected with him being from there. And we have Brayden on the screen. I actually really liked. We'll talk about him later, but I really liked Brayden's tequila shot. His personality really shined through. I feel like he it kind of I don't know, broke the ice with him and Charity of just he's really comfortable, and I
Mhm.
feel like she was able to just be like, "Oh yeah, like this dude's cool." And it's not like I don't know, it can be obviously very nerve-wracking the first impressions. So, yeah, people like that were really cool who were just kind of being themselves, Xavier. But I have to say Spencer, do you remember Spencer? KG?
I do. I have a lot to say about Spencer.
Okay. I can't wait. I don't know, maybe we'll talk about when we get inside maybe, but I have to say he was scaring me, guys. I don't know about y'all, but he was scaring me not like, "Oh, I'm scared of him," but like scaring me like,
Mhm.
Are you okay? Like, what is happening right now? Like, what is going on?" Because it went from, "Oh, he's just really nervous," to like she's having to like remind him where he is and who he is as like a human being. It was like, "Are you good?" And then he just totally flipped and was like, "Oh yeah, great. Like we had a spark." It's like, "Okay, wait. What is going on?" Like, what were your thoughts on Spencer? Because I was like, "Yeah, is he okay?"
Well, he was prepared to let Charity kick him in the nuts her his martial arts move.
Yes,
I
that
mean,
part
I don't know if
too.
she what if she would have gone through with it? I mean, it definitely would have made a TV moment. Here's what I'll say.
Right.
You know,
Mhm.
I could tell he's maybe just overall in his life socially awkward, which I think can be kind of endearing sometimes. I wasn't so sure, like that very, when you first meet someone, I think it's
Yeah.
definitely a step back of being like, okay, this guy's a little different. He beats to his own drum. Like, how do I feel about
Mhm.
this? And I think Charity kind of probably had that in her mind as well. And wanting to maybe get to know him more just because he was memorable, if anything. You know what I mean? Yeah, it might have been awkward, but
Mhm.
I'm sure she won't be forgetting it anytime soon.
This is very true. Um, I think also, we have to keep in mind production might have wanted her to just kind of, because spoiler alert, like she kept him, and I was very surprised by that. But I think maybe he's someone that can add some other layers to the episodes. I don't want to say drama because I think I don't know. I don't want to call him drama or anything like that, but he does add a little bit of like, okay, is Spencer gonna be okay? Like, what is this really awkward or whatever? But it is interesting too that he is a dad, and I found that once he shared that with her, she was like, oh wow, like thank you for being here. Like that's so like that's such a huge sacrifice, and so he's definitely an interesting character, but I think maybe there's potential for the layers to him just get more comfortable, just kind of relax or something. But I feel
Yeah,
like production maybe wanted him around too because they knew they could get some TV moments out of him as well. So he's kind of a little,
sure.
you know, multifaceted.
I definitely have to say that when they were inside and they were able to sit down and you saw a little bit more of him, you saw like how nervous he was to tell her about his son.
Mhm.
I found him very endearing and different. And honestly, if I was Charity,
Yeah.
I would have given him a rose too, just because I feel like kind of what you said, layers. There's layers to him that probably people don't get to certain layers because of kind of that outwardly kind of socially awkward like vibes. But I think maybe sometimes
Yeah.
the people, people don't take the chance to get to know him as much as they should because of those
Mhm.
first impressions. And so I like that Charity was able to see through that. And I think he could be a little gem
Yeah.
inside. I don't know. I found him very enduring once like I got a little bit more of a full picture versus just that
Mhm.
entrance, I guess. So I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm excited to watch him and
No, true.
see kind of which direction it goes. I could be way off base and he's a psycho.
Mhm.
But I don't know. I see something good in him. But it could go
Yeah.
either way.
No, I think it's true. I mean, like for instance, in the ITMs, the facial expressions they were all over the place. Not even just the ITMs, even like again in the limo entrance, like when he was in front of Charity, it was like like he went from like looking like he was lost to being like, oh yeah, this is great, like smiling to like it was, like I said, it was kind of scary. Like I was like, am I getting like a Luke P. Yosef thing? But then when he shared like he's a dad again, it was like, okay, maybe he's not a bit like he's not like he's a scary guy, but I don't know. He's just very interesting. They have like this cast of guys is definitely um it's different than usual. Like even when we get to the Brayden aspect of it all, like there isn't really a villain or someone that I'm really like, let me save all my thoughts. We'll get there. But yeah, Spencer was interesting. I'll just stop there. Were there anybody else from the limo exits that you wanted to touch on that stood out to you?
You know who? Oh, I can't think of his name now. I have it in my notes, but he didn't end up getting any
Uh-huh.
one-on-one time, but he still got a rose. He's from
Mhm.
oh my goodness, what is his name? Oh, I'm having the worst. It was the really unique name that you would have never heard in The Bachelor before. Dorn.
Was he the last
Okay,
guy?
maybe I need to move
Doten?
past it. Oh, and thank you,
Doten?
thank you. I could not think of his name. I'll have to get that up here. But I
Yeah.
really liked him. It wasn't like some big, like he wasn't dressed up like a shark or anything. But he made an impression on me of just like, I
Mhm.
could see him and Charity vibing.
Yeah, I have to agree. He was actually in my
I
notes
liked
as
him.
well. I think he was the one guy who I felt like out of the limo, I felt him and Charity had like there was something there. Like or she
Mhm.
responded to him
Exactly.
immediately. Like just that like there was like a chemistry building already. Like I felt like maybe there was potential with some of the other guys out the limo that definitely we'll talk about the one-on-ones in a minute.
Mhm.
But yeah, with him for sure, I felt it, and I was surprised by that because I looked at the cast before and I was like, I don't really think anything of him. So yeah, excited to see where he goes throughout the season. Um, and I think one other person who's gimmick I actually really liked. I just wanted to note, which I was like, why hasn't anyone done this before? Was he went home actually. Taylor, he had like a home video camera and he came out
Oh,
of the limo like,
yes.
"Hey
The guy who
kids,
looks like
this is me
Tanner
meeting
from
your mom
Tanner
for
and
the first
Jade.
time." Yeah, he looks like
It was
Tanner.
cute.
There he goes. Yes. He was so cute.
Exactly.
I loved this idea. I thought that was really cute. I know like my brother was watching it with me. He was like, "No, that's so cringy." I was like, "No, that's really sweet because what if they do end up working out?" Um, but yeah, I kind of enjoyed like when I think back on it, I did enjoy most of the ideas. Like you said, like John with the fortune cookie. It was like really cute stuff. Even Warwick had like a flight that he bought, like, oh, we have like a one-way ticket together if
Oh,
we
yeah.
work out or something like that. Like it was some cute stuff that wasn't too over the top, but wasn't just like, hi, I'm Joe, nice to meet you. Bye. Um, so yeah.
Yeah, I have to
So
say that all the
after
entrances were kind of
oh, go ahead.
medium. Sorry, I didn't mean to
Mhm.
interrupt you. But yeah, I just feel like they're all very
You're
just
good.
like medium. I feel like we have like past seasons, we have more to talk about like, oh, this was so cringy. Could you believe they did that? And I felt like it was just a little
Yeah.
bit more tame this year, minus the Spencer of it all.
Mhm. Yeah, right. For sure. I agree. I'm like trying to figure out if like I liked that, if I disliked that. And I think I was cool with it. I think I was fine with it not being too over the top, people being gimmicky because then I feel like
I
there's too
liked
many
it.
guys who aren't being serious. Like I want you to actually
Mhm.
be here to be seriously trying to date Charity. Um which I definitely got the
Same.
sense of once we got inside. So, but moving along after the last guy, which was Doughton, came out of the limo. Jesse, I mean, half near scares Charity to death, talking about, oh, I have one more guy I want to bring out who you already know you have like a past with. She was like, are you bringing out one of my exes? Like, what is going on? But of course, it was her brother, Nehemiah, who, they brought on as like a support for the premiere, but also who ended up going undercover as a bartender to spy on the guys, kind of listen in on the conversation and suss out people's intentions because I think the interesting thing about it is like someone said it, one of the guys said it once he revealed who he was, that this is his chance to kind of see how do these guys talk when my sister isn't around, which I think is obviously
Mhm.
a huge thing in really every season if you think about it. Um, a matter of how you act around the lead versus how you act, around just the cast. I mean, we saw that with Shanae, on Clayton season. So I thought it was an interesting addition to the first episode. What did you think about them adding that, like production wise?
I loved everything about it. I think it was great that she had that supporter. I mean, you're kind of just thrown into this situation that's uncomfortable for anybody and exciting and nervous, and to kind of get someone who you trust and to sound off on. I think that was really
Mhm.
cool. And I'm still rooting for Nehemiah to be the next Bachelor. He's very handsome, he's got a great personality. I'm here for it. And I was honestly surprised that there wasn't more things he was able to catch. It seemed like these guys were on their best behavior. I mean, I guess there is still cameras around, so it's not like how they
Mhm.
act when cameras aren't off. So, there's still that certain element. But I definitely think if
Yeah.
Brayden was the worst of it, like, I feel like that's a pretty good report to back on the guys. Like, I know we're probably gonna get more into the Brayden of it all, but,
Of course,
I
we
I
will.
love the disguise. I know, like, it was a little, it was an embarrassing disguise. I mean, definitely wasn't as handsome with the whole getup. But I thought
Mhm.
it was interesting that Josh, one of the guys, like, kept, like, "Do you wrestle?" He was, like, trying to search for anything of, like, "I've seen this guy before." So you could definitely tell the ones
Yep,
who,
yep.
like, maybe watched the season with Charity on it or not.
Yeah, for sure. That was my only thing about, Nehemiah's whole addition to this episode was just y'all sent a PA to Party City and brought this man a hat, a mustache, and a wig. Like, this is really crazy. Like, no one looks like this in real life at his age. Like, you guys have to be for real. Um, and he even said something like, once Josh was like, "You look so familiar. Like, have I seen you before?" Like, what? You know? He was like, "Oh my god, I knew someone was gonna recognize me in this stupid costume because it's so fake." So, but I think that they maybe kind of did that on purpose so that some of the guys might be like, "Oh, wait a minute," you know.
Added
But
humor for sure.
it did add some humor. No, I think to your point with just how the guys were so on their best behavior, honestly. Um, I think it was telling of just how great the cast of guys are. I mean, there are variables like, to be honest, they how open and I guess kind of forthcoming are you going to be around a bunch of people you don't know? Like, all of these guys have never met each other before. It's not like they're all like buddies
Yeah.
already and just talking a bunch of crap, right? Um so there's that. But I do think that, you know, they really did. I think the only other person who said something kind of questionable was maybe, I think his name was Michael. He brought up that, oh, he kind of said it in a way that was like, Charity's not really my type because my type more looks like this
Yeah.
or whatever. Like, so yeah, and that was like a little like, okay, don't put your foot in your mouth. But other than that, it wasn't like he was saying anything terrible. It was just kind of like, okay, you kind of put your foot. So, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I have to
like you did
agree. I
mention.
would say
Go ahead.
oh, keep going. Go for it.
No, no, you go. You go ahead. You go for it.
Okay, I was just saying that Michael, with that comment and a couple other things, got bad vibes.
Mm,
I don't know what it is, but I
okay.
feel like something's not so great's gonna happen. I don't think he's gonna go far. I think Charity's gonna see through him. With the very limited
Mm,
information we have, I just kind of got that gut feeling.
ooh,
But I've watched the show a lot, so I feel like my
interesting
gut
read.
feelings mean more maybe than other people.
Oh, for sure. Our gut feelings. We're professional. Okay. We're not new to this. We're
Yeah.
true to this. When we feel something in our gut,
Mhm.
usually we're onto something. So I have to say though, when you saying that, thinking back on it, I really it rubbed me a little the wrong way too. I was trying to be nice about it in this moment, but it really rubbed me the wrong way. And even kind of how he was talking after, I was like, I don't know about him. So I will agree. I have my eye on him a little bit. I think we saw like a little blip
Mhm.
of him in the season trailer, and we'll get there at the end of this panel as well. But yeah, not good vibes. Um, there were some guys though that I really got, oh my gosh, I was like, "Wow, I really like this guy." I really like, wow, oh my gosh. Like, once we got to the one-on-ones, and once she started sitting down with a lot of the men, talking to them, connecting with them, I was like, "Man, I'm having a hard time choosing." Usually I'm like, "Oh, I don't care, I don't care." And there's one person that I like, but I started liking a lot of people, who during, like, the kinda one-on-one section were you like, "Oh my gosh, this they stood out to me," or "I like them," or, like, who are you surprised by maybe that stood out to you?
Yeah, well, I'm not surprised by this one, but I've kind of we he was one of the people featured in like the promos of "This is me," and you kind of see him in Charity, and it's Joey. I am so
Mhm.
in love with Joey Oh my goodness. If I was Charity, I would
Are
have sent
you?
everyone home night 1. I have such a crush on him. It's like not even funny. Like I like need to like
I
woo.
love that.
He is just, and I like how just like sweet and confident he is without like being so outwardly.
Mhm.
And I thought it was the cutest thing during their one-on-one time. You could just see Charity getting closer and closer and closer. And I
Yes,
think he just,
yes.
I don't know, I love a little bit of awkwardness because it's cute and endearing to me. And he just like wouldn't even really look
Mhm.
at her in the eye when they were talking, and she just kept getting closer. Like she wanted to make out. She wanted to make out so hard. I just knew it. And I just feel like Joey just didn't know. He was awkward. He didn't know what to do.
Yep,
And I
yep.
loved every second of their time together. I kind of wished it went worse so there'd be more
Yeah.
openings for me. But I absolutely loved it. And I think you could definitely see that in like the sneak preview at the end too. I think he goes far. And I think he's going to be a
Mm.
Bachelor household name. I might turn my podcast into a Joey Stan
Wow.
account. It's really gone this far, just one episode. I'm in. I'm all in.
Yo, KG, you saying maybe
I
there's
love him.
leeway for me as a whole married person is absolutely hilarious to me. That is so funny.
Marcus would understand.
No, I right. Hopefully, maybe. Um, no, I have to agree. Joey was, I mean, huge standout for me. I think, like you said, when I saw him on like some of the little clips they posted on Twitter, I was like, oh, I got a good feeling about this one. But I don't know. We'll have to see. And man, really followed through. I mean, first of all, he was the first one-on-one they showed in the episode, which says a lot. I think
Hmm.
anyway. I think that maybe the
Agreed.
first one-on-one they showed for Zach's season, I'll correct myself and come back and let you guys know, or someone in the comments can. I think for Zach's season it was Katie, if I'm not mistaken. Um,
Ooh, that
and
definitely
yeah,
says
Joey
something.
just gives, yeah. So Joey gives someone that you just need to watch. And I think when they, like I said, followed through, I mean, they have great natural chemistry. She seemed so comfortable with him instantly, just like in his presence, she was comfortable. And just by their body language, you could tell. And
Like, look
I
at this
love that
picture. Look at
he
those
is,
eyes.
I mean, the way they're looking at each other is just like this is like the first 10 minutes of them ever meeting each other. It's very like they look so good
Hmm.
together too. Um but yeah, I love that, and this, kind of gives me like, hear me, Greg Grippo vibes of like I don't really
Yes.
watch the show, but oh my gosh, I just met this girl, like you're so gorgeous, and like wow, I'm intrigued by you, and like kind of I'm like actually really in this. Of course he kind of made me think of even Jason from last season too, with the tennis
Very
thing, and like
much.
he's, yeah, but and again, not really watching the show, not really knowing how this whole thing really works, but I'm really into you so far and very interested, like genuinely interested and excited. And you can tell that he's got more extroverted nature to him, which I think will work better for him in as opposed to, excuse me, a Greg or a Jason. I think as a player in the show,
Sure.
he seems like he's more extroverted. So I think that's going to work better in his favor. Um, just long term, kind of making moments and building connection within like this world of the Bachelorette. So I mean, I agree with you. Obviously, I've talked a good bit just now. I'm a big fan of Joey. I like him a lot. I like them together so far. What I've seen, um, and someone else as well who I felt very similarly to about was Xavier. I felt like Xavier
Hmm.
and Charity had such an instant click once they actually sat down. The chemistry was there. I loved how like natural he was, and he didn't seem over rehearsed or like he just was, I could tell he was just being himself. And before I ask you your thoughts, I just wanted to share. It was so funny to me because he's from Carborough, North Carolina, which is like 20 minutes from where I live. And I was
Oh,
watching it
really?
with my little brother. Yes. And I was watching it with my little brother, and he was like kind of on his phone. And then he looks up and he's like, oh my God, wait, I know him. And I was like, what? He was like, "Yes, I play basketball with him all the time. That's X." Like, he started calling him X, like, nickname basis. He's like, "This is so weird. This is gonna be so crazy. Now I feel like I have to watch the show. Oh my god." I'm like, "Okay, wait, wait, tell me more about him because he seems so
Yes,
awesome.
please.
Like, he knows how to knit. He knows how to, like, he plays basketball. He does this. He's a scientist. Like, what?" And my brother was like, "No, he's a really, really good guy. Like, really great guy. He's kinda really dorky, but he's still kinda cool." I'm like, "Yeah, good feelings about Xavier." So,
I
yeah, what did you
love
think
that for her.
about Xavier?
I loved Xavier. He was
Yeah,
definitely one of my favorites. I think he's gonna go far. I love that. I mean, he's obviously very handsome, but I love that geekiness of like and how smart he is. And he got one of the. She didn't
yeah.
kiss like she had a small group of who she kissed, and I feel like they had instant
Mhm.
chemistry when it came to that. So I'm a big Xavier fan, and I think we're gonna see him around for a while. And I have to say, one of my other favorites I'll get better
Mhm.
at names as the season goes on, but it's the guy who brought a box from his parents, and it was a note from his mom with like the cider and the donuts. I have
James.
to, yes,
Yeah.
this guy, James. Thank you. I thought it was so sweet, and I loved how he didn't know about the no element. He thought it was just gonna be cider and
Loved that.
donuts, and he was like so embarrassed. And I was just very. I guess my word is endearing for like this this recap, but I just really saw that, and I was just like, okay, he's close to his parents. That's a green flag right there. If they treat your mom like their
Mhm,
mom, right?
mhm.
That's a very, very good sign of how he's gonna treat his significant other. So I absolutely loved it.
Totally.
They both ate a donut at both ends, like spaghetti and Lady and the Tramp. It was cute. And I wasn't expecting them
So
to
cute.
connect as much, I guess. I think that really
Mhm.
he really won when he brought that kind of gimmick because I felt like it really made it a little mini date and it showed her more about who he is. And
Yeah.
James, I would say specifically, is the one who surprised me that I wasn't expecting to like so much.
Mm. Mhm. Yeah. No, that's a good point. I think when it comes to the note from his mom, like, I think that actually in a interesting kind of weird way, it like broke the ice because it's like you're getting a
Mm-hmm.
glimpse at like who this person, like, you're getting something from home. Like, you're getting a glimpse of like who they really are by just like their mom telling you, "Oh my gosh, we're so excited that it's you. We've prayed for someone like you to be with our son, James," or whatever. It just kind of makes you feel kinda, like, connected to them, like, in a weird way instantly, and I think for someone like Charity, who obviously family is huge for her, that went a long way, and I think they have a nice place to start, to build. So I hope that James, I don't know if he'll go insanely, insanely far, but I'm excited to see where he goes because I think that was a really good start for both of them. I think
Agreed. It
for
was cute.
me, the surprises were more so guys that I was like, "Oh, I thought I was gonna like you this, but I didn't."
Mm.
And I
Ooh,
have to
who?
just bring this up. I don't know how you feel about this because we did talk about him a little bit earlier, but Aaron
Okay.
B. Aaron B
I
was
have stuff
kind
to
of
say.
giving me the ick. Yeah. Aaron B was giving me the
Same.
ick. Like, not totally, but a little bit. Like, okay. The playing the piano, talking in between, I was like, if he starts singing, I'm gonna really scream. I don't know if I can handle
Mm.
it. It was just so
No.
it was just really awkward for me. And then when they sat down and started talking, it just felt, and this is what I'm saying, it's the opposite of like a Joey or an Xavier, where they're just being themselves, right? Not
Mhm.
rehearsed. Aaron B felt rehearsed to me. Like he felt like he thought of what he was gonna say before he did it. Like brought back around the coin flip thing so they could do the kiss. I don't know. It's like it didn't work for me personally. Apparently for Charity, it worked out because she was like, I
Yeah.
mean, they was kissing and it was cool. But I
She
don't
is
know. Like
into
I just
it.
wasn't feeling it personally. What were your thoughts?
I had the exact same thing, Kayla. I thought we were gonna not have the same opinions on this because I know, I mean, Aaron B, you can tell he's a front runner, right? This episode. I mean,
Mhm.
the way she Charity talked about him in her interviews, I think like she doesn't feel this way very often. I think he's number like really close to number one in her head on day one. And I felt there was some red
Mhm.
flags. I don't know. I feel like probably the piano thing's his go-to move. Girls, and musicians. I don't know. I feel like that's like a move, definitely. And it didn't feel authentic to me. As well as his reaction
Mhm.
to the first impression rose. Um, it just is a little bit of a red flag to get that his facial expressions, the jealousy. Like, I could be a jealous person too, so I get it to a certain level, but I don't know. It just something about him worries me, and it's giving me
Mm.
like he's top two and he might be the person we see in the sneak preview of like, hey, we're about to get proposed for a week and you're not ready to my prediction of who that is. I feel like it's going to go really
Wow.
well till the very end and something's going to happen and he's going to break Charity's heart. That's my like, I guess again gut because I watch a lot of these type of shows and I'm getting that from him.
Yeah. Wow, interesting take for sure. Interesting
Mhm.
read. I mean,
I don't know if we'll be in the
I
majority or not.
hesitate. I know. I wonder what like the grand majority thinks about Aaron, period. Aaron B, like, period.
Yeah.
I hesitate like to say I think he's the guy she's talking about at the end. I feel like from the previews, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. We'll have to like do a whole preview breakdown and kind of really
I
sleuth
can't
it out,
wait.
and I have to get my
He's
magnifying
very
glass out.
handsome.
But yeah, I don't know. He definitely is someone that I don't get a good vibe about. And I think, he had oh what we can see is he's gonna have a there's gonna be a feud between him and another person that
Mhm.
we have to talk about this episode. And I think it's gonna be a
Okay.
detriment to both of their relationships with Charity.
Agreed.
And that is Brayden. We gotta talk about Brayden.
Brayden, Brayden, Brayden.
Um, because Brayden is interesting. He is a very, very interesting person. I don't want to say villain because I know that's like a buzzword, and I think, that might kind of shadow him because of the guys are obviously not vibing with him, right? But let's just start here, okay? What
Okay.
was your before we get into his behavior afterwards, what was your thoughts on their one-on-one moment before he started completely oversharing? Like what was your read of
Yeah.
him when they just sat down together and had their first kiss and all that?
Yeah, I would say when they initially met, I was like, he seems nice enough, like probably not Charity's vibe. But when they went and actually sat down, I
Mhm.
was impressed with the conversation they had. I felt like it was like very deep for a first conversation. And they seemed to really connect on a level that hit a chord with Charity. And, only she
Mhm.
can like know her experience and how it connects with his. And I definitely think that like brought it up a notch with him and they made out like
Yeah.
they probably kissed the most out of everybody they had that physical and emotional connection which I think definitely goes far with Charity. So and I initially
Mhm.
took of him going to the bar and being like a little giddy schoolgirl. I thought it was cute. I was like, I don't think it's
Mhm.
maybe he crossed the line when he was talking about, oh, I think I'm gonna get the first impression rose, like slow your roll, buddy. But I think he felt the connection just as strongly as Charity did, and we can see that and how it
Mhm.
ended up of they were both kind of giddy for each other in that moment. Did I think he was gonna
Mhm.
get the first impression rose? I absolutely did not. I thought it was gonna go to Aaron B. And especially when the brother kind of
Okay.
talked negatively about Brayden and positively about
Mm.
Aaron B. I thought that was it. But it kind of seemed like Charity took her advice from her brother and kind of flipped it on its head a little bit. I was shocked that that conversation turned positive and not negative. But yes, I definitely didn't see him going up to the bar being like, "Oh my god, we kissed her." I saw it a little bit as immaturity maybe. Like, I don't know how old Charity is, but this guy's 24. And I don't know, just in my head that
Mhm.
seems kind of young. I don't know, I could see her maybe with a little bit
Mhm.
of an older guy. I've said a lot, but yeah, I
Yeah.
was definitely surprised. I was
It's
surprised
okay.
by the connection, but I understand like that. I feel like that
Mhm.
conversation really connected them in a way that's kind of not
Yeah.
tangible.
Yeah, I think I agree. And we'll unpack all of what you kinda touched on because I think I agree with a lot of what you said, but initially, I was like, "Oh, this is actually a really" and, hear me, this is like a leg up that he has that they have this this similar experience of a past relationship of
Mhm.
being cheated on because I think that's kind of the main thing that she's expressed of what she's been through, and that was really hard for her. And Zach was somebody that showed her, like, okay, no, there are good guys out there, give him a chance, whatever. Or kinda put my heart back out there to give love a chance, excuse me. So
Mhm.
seeing Brayden, hearing him be like, "No, that's why from watching the season, I actually really connected with you and connected with your empathy for others," and I was like, "Okay, this dude is really, like, kinda legit," and then when they kissed, yeah,
Yeah.
there was some chemistry there, they kinda, like, giggled and laughed. When I first saw it in the preview, I felt like it was awkward, but seeing the whole conversation, I was like, "Oh, okay. This is really cute." Now, when he went and was oversharing, I was completely turned off. I was like, "No."
Okay.
It's giving now, people saying he's a villain or it's disrespectful or all of that, I don't agree with. What I see it as is just, like, really immature. And I think for me,
Mhm.
again, if I was Charity and I mean, she didn't see this herself, so it's different, but if I were Charity, I would be like, what? This is really not cute. I just think to me it's more attractive when you have just a genuine like I don't know, you just don't kiss and tell and you just have a genuine confidence about what happened. You don't need to like overshare it. Like you know how to kind of keep
Mhm.
your cards close to your chest a little bit and withhold information like you don't know any of these people. Like on top of that, you are vying for this girl's heart, like, amongst everybody else. Like, you guys are kind of in a competition. You don't it's just not a good move. Um, and then to go so far as to be like, "Oh, I think I'm gonna get that first impression rose," I was like, "Okay, it's too much. It's just way too much." Even him in the ITM, he was just way too over the top. Like, I don't know. I think it just was not a good look. Um, but like you, I was very surprised that, the whole reason why Nehemiah is here is to give you some some red flags, some warnings. And the one guy he was warning you about, you go and give the first impression rose to. Like, I was like, Charity. I understand not sending him home. I didn't want her to send him home, right? But I just kind of felt
Mhm.
like, you know, there were a lot of other guys that I expected her to give it to. Like you said Aaron B. I
Mhm.
mean, shoot, it could have been Aaron B, it could have been Xavier, it could have been maybe even
Joey.
Joey. Like they just had such a great chemistry. So I was just like, Brayden? Really? Again, yeah, I agree with you. 24, she's 27. Not like that's a huge age gap, but I think when you're in your 20s that is.
Mhm.
So yeah, he's really an interesting choice. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Did you feel like she might have made a misstep by giving him this first impression rose? Like
Yes.
did you kind of be was this okay, expound on that.
Yes, the more I think
Right.
about it and we're talking about it, the more I'm actually surprised because I do feel like bachelorettes in the
Mhm.
past have a really great track record with first impression roses. And I expected
Yep.
nothing less of Charity, especially since she is like a therapist. She's so in tune with her emotions and what she's looking for and what she needs. And it was really interesting how Nehemiah's advice, like, I don't almost maybe push them together in a way. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure. I only
Mm,
Charity I think can answer exactly why she did that, but I think she can look back and being like, "Oh, that was a unique decision. So much was happening that night
mhm.
and I just he was in front of me." But yeah, I was very surprised it wasn't an Aaron B or a Joey or Xavier, and I think she's going to find out pretty quick that he's not her husband, and I think what he did with going up to the bar, being around those group of guys talking about kissing her, I think it obviously didn't affect his relationship with Charity, but I think it's very much going to affect his relationship with the guys and going forward living in this house with all these
Mhm.
guys who are also dating her. I definitely think he's going to
Oh,
realize he
buddy.
kind of put his foot in his mouth, and we see that in the sneak preview. I believe like Adrian's one of the guys who kind of goes head to head with him,
Mhm.
and it's gonna first people who get first impression rose, Bachelor or Bachelorette, can sometimes have a tougher journey because you are kind of the target in the beginning because okay, Charity likes you the best, what can we do to, kind of lesser you and have me be noticed? So,
Mm,
definitely there's perks with getting the first impression rose. I'm sure he was on cloud 9 that night, but I think he's very quickly going to
yeah.
realize that there's some thorns on that rose that comes along with it, and I think these guys make getting talking to Charity, it could
Mm,
eventually go towards him and Charity's relationship because I think these guys are gonna go for blood a little bit.
yeah. No, I think great point you made about the track record of bachelorettes, right? I mean, the last few bachelorettes, I think the guy they ended up choosing, or maybe initially wanted to choose, probably was the person that got the first impression rose. The only other bachelorette that
Mhm.
comes to mind whose first impression was like, this is a throwaway, kind of was
There was
Tasha,
one.
that I can remember.
Oh, yeah. That was a
Um,
rough one.
yeah, and Gabby. Gabby's first impression rose was like Mario or something. I don't even
Was,
remember
wasn't it? But then I
what he
think
looks
Rachel
like
chose
right now in my
Tino.
head. But Rachel did choose Tino, right? Correct. So yeah, I mean, it's
JoJo
usually
and
like the
Jordan.
bachelorettes are usually on it. Yep, JoJo and Jordan, Nate and Michelle. I mean,
Mhm.
Katie chose Greg, but Blake wasn't there. So I mean, I don't
Caitlin
know.
and Sean.
But I mean, Caitlin and Sean. I mean, even Brayden himself was almost shocked, like, wait, really? And I think mainly he was shocked too because I mean, it just threw you off. I mean, she pulled him aside, right? She was like, "Hey, my brother said this stuff. Like, what's up?" His response to her, I actually was like, "Okay, I feel that." Like, I just meant, if I were in your shoes and I felt what if you felt what I was feeling, I would have given you my first impression rose. You get what I'm trying to say? Which I was like, okay, that makes
Yeah, yeah.
sense. I actually I hear him, but I think that with what you just said about like, hey, the first impression rose kind of gets a little target on your back. On top of that, you also rubbed everybody the wrong way the first night. So your first impression with everyone else, it's just gonna make for a really, really rough experience for you. And I think for me as
Agreed.
a watcher, a viewer of this show, like knowing, you know, how it usually goes, once you get drama on your back, it just it kind of takes you out of the game in terms of somebody who can really make it to the end in a relationship with the lead because it just taints everything. And with that being said, that's why I feel like Aaron B as well from the previews, he's in trouble too because some of these guys who are getting so shook by Brayden and to be this early on, yes, it's okay to be annoyed by him, right? He was being annoying. He's just buzzing around,
Yeah.
not shutting up. Like, hush, we get it. You had a good time. Um, but it's like to be in the ITM and be upset and be like, oh, he's gonna be my competition. Like Aaron B literally said, he's gonna be my competition. Like he decided
Yeah.
that Brayden is his nemesis now. It's like, okay, it's now you're just as much kind of in trouble as him because that should not be your focus. Your focus should be building a relationship with Charity. So, yeah, I think that with that being said, he's probably going to
We
be
gotta
an Abigail to a Matt James. You know what I mean? Like he's going to be
Yeah.
well, maybe even worse so, right? Like I can't think of I feel like there's someone who got a first impression rose who the lead really liked and they ended up not being the best option for them and it kind of ended up being some trouble. Um Jay Woods, hey girl. She says, I think production encouraged the first impression rose, maybe to start drama with the guys. Interesting thought, KG. Kick it over to
Could
you. What do
be.
you think?
Yeah, and I was even thinking to kind of go on top of that. Like I almost wonder if Charity like knows the drama that goes with the first impression rose and specifically this is probably mean to
Mm-hmm.
say. Not that she didn't like Brayden, but like, what if she's like, hey, I don't want to put pressure on this other relationship. Let me give it to Brayden. We had a good conversation, and I don't want to paint the guy I really like as a target. Now, I'm not saying this happened, but I mean, I don't know. I would think about it that way of like, I don't want to taint a different
It's fair.
relationship. And, we see what happens with Brayden and we see the commentary. The guys are like, oh, he's playing games. And it also kind of made me think back
Mm-hmm.
to their conversation differently. Let's put it in the perspective of he's playing games. He
Mm.
knows
Mm-hmm.
that
Yeah.
she had someone who cheated on her. He goes in, he's watched her
Mm-hmm.
season. He knows the right thing to say. He knows what she likes. If you look at it
Yeah.
from that point of view, it's kind of interesting of being like, okay, is Brayden this kind of, harmless guy who they connect with a lot, or does he know what to say? So it's kind of, I think only time will tell.
Very true. Yeah. No, that's a good point. I think we have more of the show to see, to watch, to see how he moves
Totally.
and where this whole like, oh, he's playing games is coming from. But I wouldn't put it past him, honestly. I don't get a super calculated vibe from him, but so far. But I think to Jay Wood's point though, I think that's probably exactly what happened. Like, I think that production definitely nudged Charity and was like, "Yeah, but Brayden and you really click." Like, they know that he's been bugging them all night, okay? He's been saying, "Oh, I'm looking out for this first impression rose." He said it more than one time. They know if he gets this first
Hmm.
impression rose, it is going to give them some content, okay? It's gonna give them that drama. It's gonna stir up the feelings, stir up the emotions, and make it harder on the other guys and harder on Brayden. And I think they can see through Brayden, okay, like glass. They know how immature he is. They know if they poke the bear and get him, like he's going to react to them not liking him and giving, their that feud kind of starting with a lot of the house. So I think it was an easy win for production if they did nudge Charity towards giving him the first impression rose because she did genuinely click with him and she liked him. And they did connect
Hmm.
on something real. But why I think that production really did nudge her is because there were so many other guys that she like we said, there was a lot of other guys I felt like she connected just as much with and had just as great of a kiss. Like I said, Xavier, even
It's a
John.
surprising
Like
choice.
John, they connected on family. They made out after.
Hmm.
Like it was really good. Um, who she was taken aback by. So yeah, I have to agree with both of your takes. I think that it's kind of this mean mix of like I think Braden does know kind of where what he's doing. And I think production knew what they were doing. And I think Charity was like, "Oh yeah, sure. Give it to Braden, you know?" I think for some people
Yeah.
it's even like the first impression rose doesn't really mean like you're my number 1 tonight and for the rest of the season you're the
Sure.
front runner. I think it just means like no, this was the best, like, first impression of tonight, like, just as an
Hmm.
impression, wow. Yeah, but I think there's tons of
Yeah.
guys
No,
that
I
she
think that's a good
feels
way to look at it.
connections with strongly. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
we're like we kind of
So
said a little bit how Charity surprised me. And even with this choice, I was surprised. So I think Charity's going to make some decisions that maybe we aren't expecting. And it kind of makes for a great Bachelorette
mhm,
season.
I think so as well. Um, so yeah, the last little bit I think we just have is the rose ceremony. Um, she sent home can't I be like 4 or 5 guys. She has 19 men left. So
Wasn't a
how much
lot.
is that? Six guys?
Mhm.
Um, yeah. So I was surprised that Taylor, our home video guy, went home.
Me
I
too.
was surprised that Spencer actually stayed. Is there anyone else from the cast that you were kind of like, oh no, wait, why'd they go home? Or wait, why did she give them a rose?
Yeah, I was surprised Sean stayed because I think he said he didn't talk to her, and I don't know I just for some reason I
Mm-hmm.
do not see them together. And then I'm the
Yeah.
wrestler guy. I'm really interested to see
Yes,
how
I was
that
gonna
relationship
bring him
progresses
up.
because they seem just so different. I just do not
Yeah.
see Charity with a professional wrestler. But you know, I don't know who he is other than that kind of persona. So, people can surprise us, which is something that's really great about this show. You see someone and you instantly judge them whether you are trying to or not. And seeing like
Mhm.
the layers of someone, getting to know them, it just kind of opens up your eyes a little bit to who these people are and to not judge so quickly. So I think that's one of the cool things about
Yeah.
watching shows like this and getting to know these guys.
It's true. And I think, you know, just bouncing off of that, we can talk about get into the preview a little bit because, you know, once I saw the preview, I was like, "Oh, I think we might have some dark horses coming up the rear. There's people who you never know, you know,
Mhm.
might start becoming front runners or might start getting more screen time and Charity's eyes kind of be like, "Oh, wait a minute. Who is this?" And you get to know them a little bit more and so I really can't wait for episode 2. Before I ask you who you might have your eyes on though, I did want to talk about that we did
Mhm.
get this final location, final rose ceremony shot from the season trailer of Charity at the podium in her dress, which to me says that she makes it all the way to the end. She
Mhm.
might be getting proposed to. We even hear her say she's madly in love. But this is something that we need to keep in mind as we keep watching the season. It's pretty clear that it's going to be a tough choice for her. I mean, in that little clip, and at some point we'll do a whole, season trailer breakdown video on the channel, but she did say, I mean, I am like you shouldn't break up with someone that you love, right? And what am I doing? I don't know if I'm maybe sending my person home right now. So it gets down to the wire for her with at least her final 2. So definitely something to keep in
Mhm.
mind. Um but yeah, what were your thoughts after seeing the preview? Like I said, who do you have your eyes on? What are your predictions? Any front
Yeah,
runners
I
already in
mean,
your mind?
yeah, I definitely think Charity saying that she falls in love with two people, that's a big thing. And I think she's like an empath like me. So you could tell, like, even just that first night, I think her heart was breaking, leaving saying goodbye to these six guys that she had known for a few hours.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to see it progressively get worse and worse. And it's going to be hard on her. And I think it's going to take a toll. And I think we're going to see
Mhm.
that. I love like all of her sassy remarks and her sticking up for herself. I believe like one of the kind of villains they're portraying on the sneak peek was Sean. And for her to say, she's like, I gave you a rose,
Mhm.
but I could snip that thing right off. Like I just love that she's
Okay.
gonna take control. She's not gonna put up with any crap from these guys. And
Uh-huh.
I just like really trust in her to make the right choice, even though like her first impression rose was a little bit questionable. I think she's gonna do the right thing in the end. And I mean, I definitely we see Joey a lot in those previews, and I feel like
Mhm.
we see Aaron B in a lot in those previews. Like, if I'm just gonna throw out
True.
a prediction right now, it'd be those two for top two, and those are the two people she falls in love with.
Okay. Okay. Interesting.
I'm
I
saying it. That's what I
okay,
think.
so So, man, it's tough. It's tough, it's tough, it's tough because we have to see more. We definitely have to see more because here's the thing. In
Sure.
the season trailer, we did hear 2 guys say that they're falling in love with her. Those 2
Yes.
guys were Xavier and Joey. And
Mhm.
I think that's a big sign that they put that in the trailer. And I'm trying to figure out, is it to throw me off? Or is it to be like, no, watch out for these 2? So it's like the trailer, I
Mhm.
was like, I don't know what you guys are trying to do to me right now. Um, but one of the things that, we did see as well is that one of the guys, she says to them, you mentioned it earlier. We are a week away from like the proposal and now you're telling me you don't know what you want. That person who she was talking to was definitely, and again, we'll do the whole breakdown video, but that person was definitely a black guy for sure because I could see the color of their
Mhm.
hand when she was talking to them. If I'm not mistaken,
Mhm.
I could be wrong, y'all, but y'all just bear with me. This is panel, we just talking right now. We'll break it down
No,
later.
I
But
love it.
I'm just
Yeah,
like,
we're going off
is it
limited
Aaron V?
information.
Is it Xavier? Is it Dalton? Like I saw Dalton a lot in the trailer. He seemed to kind of be in like some kind of tropical background, which we know at the end of
Yeah.
her season, she's in Fiji. Um, so yeah, and it's interesting too. We'll have to go through, like I said, and really break it down because it's going to be easy to spot who gets second dates as well. Like there's so many locations we'll be able to kind of look at
Yeah.
backgrounds of where they are in certain shots. Um, and yeah, I don't know. It's interesting, but
And
one other
couldn't
person that I was
yeah,
going to
go
bring
ahead.
up. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead before I loop that in.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say, couldn't a week away from proposing could technically be top 3, right? So it
Okay,
could
very
be
true.
like a third variable. I just wanted to throw that out there, but keep going, please.
Mhm.
I need to know all your
That's a
thoughts.
good point. No, that's a very, very good point to keep in mind. Um, no, so someone who I was like, okay, I think we're getting a dark horse potentially
Okay, who?
was Tanner in the previews. Tanner was someone from the cast
Wait.
that I was like, something about him that I just feel like, I don't know, he maybe is gonna get some play in the season or there's just something there that intrigued me. He wasn't in the first episode like barely at all, but in the season trailer, she says to him, "Tanner, like every time I'm with you, I'm just on cloud
Oh
9 or something." And
yeah.
they're on a one-on-one date. And so I was like, "Whoa, that's a big thing to say."
That is.
Um so I don't know. I think there's like I said, I think there's certain guys we have to watch out for. Like Tanner.
I'm not gonna
So,
lie, I
yeah,
could
did you
not
catch
pick
that
up
bit?
pick out Tanner. I did catch
Okay.
that bit, but I could not pick out Tanner in a lineup. I actually cannot picture him right now. So I'll need to
Yeah.
go back and I want to watch it because it
Yeah.
is for a bachelorette to say that to one of the contestants. I think it is very meaningful. And I definitely
Okay,
also
so
were excited to
Tanner.
see Joe. Show me.
Yeah, I was gonna say, sorry. So see Charity's right
Far
here on the
left?
right, far right. So the guy next
Yeah,
to
yeah.
no, so the guy next to Charity, Josh, the guy that's right
Uh-huh.
above him, that guy
Oh,
is
okay. He's
Tanner.
cute.
You see him?
He's got good hair.
Yeah,
I
he's
do.
cute.
I do.
Good hair,
Okay.
tall. Yes. So that's Tanner, just for your reference. But continue.
Yeah, I love a dark horse. I feel like Ariel was the dark horse of like Zach's season. She just kept getting further and further, and people weren't sure
Oh
how
yeah.
far she would go. So, it's always like
Mhm.
fun getting surprised like that.
Yeah, me too. And I think Dalton is someone to watch out for as well. So
A
there was,
hundred
a little
percent
shot of
agree.
him where I was like, he seems to go really far, but also he seems like there was a shot where I was like, are they breaking up right now? Because it looked like he might have been
Ooh.
crying. Could have been a good cry, could have been a bad cry. Um, I don't know. It's hard. Like there was so much in that trailer. I was like surprised that they showed us as much as they did. Even like someone
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
Warwick gets a one-on-one date, but I'm like, he was
Yeah.
barely even shown in episode 1. Like, wait, is he gonna go far? Like, it seemed like they had a good time. I don't know. It's just Charity seems to be connecting with so many people. So I'm intrigued for
That's
for
yeah,
sure.
that sneak peek
Um,
was very impactful.
yeah.
I
Oh, it
de
was packed
I
full of
definitely I was
a whole
excited
lot.
to see Gabby and Rachel and JoJo. It was fun to see kind of those familiar
Yeah.
faces. And we'll probably see one of those people a lot during Bachelor Paradise. So very excited.
Oh, yeah. Very excited
The
to
first
see Gabby
Bachelorette.
and Rachel back. Yeah, exactly. Um, yeah, I'm excited about this season for sure. Any other final thoughts, KG, before we get out of here on just like the premiere episode, who you're
Ooh.
excited about? Do we maybe want to do a final four
Mm.
prediction right now, or
Ooh, I have it up
what do
here.
we
So
think?
yes. So I
Oh,
already said
give it to me.
Joey and
Let's go.
Aaron B for top 2.
Okay.
And then I think we're
Okay.
gonna get Xavier in there. Or is a
Mhm.
question mark, but it could be. Oh my goodness, I keep forgetting his name because it's just so unique. What's his name again?
Oh,
D-
Doten.
Doughton. Thank you, Doughton. I think it could be Xavier and Doughton. I don't, John's
Okay.
could be a question
Okay.
mark, but I think that's gonna be my final.
Mhm. Okay. Mine
What about
right
you?
now, Joey, easy. Joey and
Yeah,
Xavier, easy 2 in there. I'm not saying they're final 2, but they're just a lock right now
yeah,
for
those are
being in
gonna
the
be
final
top 4.
4. And then I'm gonna go ahead and say I think Tanner maybe. I think Tanner, some I don't
Okay,
know. I'm feeling strongly about his dark horse, power. Like I
it
think he
was a
might
moment.
actually
Mm-hmm.
go far. There was a nice moment. Tanner in there, and then the fourth is tough. I will agree. I'm between Doughton and John as well, but
So no Aaron
I
B.
think I'm gonna go with no Aaron B. I'm telling you,
Ooh,
KG. I'm telling you right
interesting.
now. I'm telling you right now. I think that Aaron B
I think you're wrong.
is a early front runner. Ah! I think Aaron B is an early front runner. But I
Okay.
don't think he actually will go as far. I mean, I could be wrong. You're totally right. From the preview, their one-on-one date was on at the Hollywood sign. So I think they
So
get an
earlier
early
on.
one-on-one. I think they get an early one-on-one. I think you're right. I think if Brayden hadn't gotten the first impression rose, she probably was gonna give it to Aaron, maybe. So he gets an early one-on-one. It goes well, but I do think this drama with Brayden, I don't know. I feel like it's gonna taint things.
Gonna have a
But
ripple
I could
effect
be
for
wrong.
sure.
Yeah.
See,
I
I
think
think when
so.
I what I see
So
in the preview is Adrian
mhm.
going after Brayden versus Aaron B. But we'll find out.
It's both of them. Yeah, it to me from what
Oh,
I
okay,
remember it was
both.
both of them. Yeah. Yeah.
It's gonna be a great
So
season,
Adrian
Kayla. I
is
cannot wait to recap it with you.
I know. I know. There's so much to talk about already just in this first episode, just in this trailer.
Really is.
Um, but yeah, we'll have to just kind of like see where it goes and really keep predicting and probably change our predictions as things go. You guys know the drill.
Oh, for
Um,
sure.
but yeah, that's about all my thoughts on this premiere on Charity as Bachelorette. Some of our guys. We already predicted our kind of final four already. Thank you guys so much for watching and being here on our panel. If you were here live, thank you for joining in. Don't forget to throw this video a like. Make sure you're subscribed and you've hit the notification bell so that you don't miss out when we're going to cover the entire season of The Bachelorette, of course. So you don't want to miss out on any panels, any preview breakdowns that we do, or any Bachelor news. And once again, I'm Kayla Thompson. This is Kayla Galloway. You can come follow us on Instagram, on our TikToks. You can connect with us. We'd love to connect with you. But thank you guys again for watching, and we will see you very, very soon to keep covering The Bachelorette.
Bye.